We're live.
And we're live.
And we're live. Can we get a round of applause? Yeah. Yeah, we're live. Hey!
84 years.
That round of applause was actually for the little jam session that Mr. Nate pulled off for us, which is pretty cool. So here we are, Hockey Talks. We got a whole bunch of stuff.
Shit.
Trying to keep it clean early on, as I always do, and then Daniel just reminds me, nope, this is not a family-friendly show. But we've got a couple things we wanted to get done. Obviously, the most important one is that our friend Nate has joined us. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk to him about. But I want to go around. I think it's been a while, right?
Yep.
When's the last time you were on camera, homie?
It's been a little while. I've been in the
I think.
death basement for the last month.
Oh, here we go.
You got the COVID without the COVID, right?
Yeah, I got the COVID without the COVID, but
Feline
it's going
AIDS.
around, man.
yeah, it's today we're feeling better for the first day in a week, so that's
Right on,
good.
right on.
And then everybody, make sure we come out to the JSD skate
Tomorrow?
tomorrow at
1
1,
p.m.
Sundays at 1.
1 p.m.
Guess turnout's been a little lower.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can pick that up, get some good scrimmages. Because
Yeah.
we've actually been getting goalies showing up the last few times I've been.
Crazy, right?
And now
we
we
couldn't
don't
get
have
goalies.
players.
We had 25 or 30 guys.
There were 2 last week.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
we have 2, and we have like 6 or 8 guys.
So-
We got to get this together.
Yeah, we need to get that picked up.
Well, we did like some cool, like small area games last week. I think Cody was there. Maybe he wasn't. I can't remember. Were you there
Gotcha.
last Sunday?
No, it's
So
like,
we had-
Yeah, I think
They
you're
just
looking
did
at a bunch of
goals
slackers.
in like the bottom half, and then would do either 1-on-2 or 2-on-1s or 2-on-2s
Right
or
on.
1-on-1s, and
Yep.
so it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
It's fun stuff.
Yeah, appreciate that. And tell us about your skate sharpening business.
So skate sharpening, I've been getting people to actually bring their skates to me. Everybody seems to love them so far. I've been doing
Feeling confident.
starting
It's time
feel
to start
confident.
charging people,
Yeah, I'm
brother.
definitely gonna start charging people.
just long
especially
as
this.
I'm to him every other week.
Because I have to use half a freaking stone just to sharpen his and remove the trauma from his.
What are you doing with your skates?
I beat the fuck out of
Walking
him.
on
Yeah.
concrete.
He's
I
trying
swear.
to kill
must be
people
it.
like Happy Gilmore or whatever that
Yeah.
story was.
What
I tried
those-
to stab him with my skate.
These ones, there was like one of the blades was like that on there.
Yeah.
Don't even know how it happened.
Although I did finally get him to start drying his blades off after each
I'm
game.
trying to be better.
Yeah, you should totally do
Because he brought me a pair that were so pitted with rust that I had just sharpened. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Take care
Part of
of
it,
your blades.
part of
I
it to see how much I
have
can
never
piss them
seen
off.
rust on my blades ever.
Yeah.
I didn't
It's
even know
been a
that
long
was a
time
thing.
for me.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe up in the channel after you pull them out, you're like, oh, there's a little bit of rust.
Yeah, a
there.
little bit.
Yeah.
There, sure.
But no,
Not the sides
the,
or the blade.
the actual end was rusted and pitted.
Yeah.
So make sure you take care of your blades.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
All right.
Austin.
Thank you for being here, even though you're under the weather,
Oh, yeah.
fighting the COVID that isn't COVID.
The AIDS.
I had the
So
same
that's why
crap.
you guys sat me over here.
Probably.
Yeah, we wanted to put you
All
close
right.
to the sick guy. No, I had the
It's either-
same crap, and I kept testing, and it was like, yeah, I don't have it. So
Had 4 tests.
It's either
now,
COVID or
all
get
negative.
licked by me, so...
Fair point. I'll stick.
yeah, stick to COVID. Daniel, what do you got, brother?
First off, just want to thank everybody for all the hoodie support that we got. How much did we sell? Like 600 hoodies?
Well, I wish we could finally break even if we did, but I do think we sold about 20.
That's not bad.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad.
Yeah, thanks everyone
Yeah.
for that. Goes to Danny's beer contract, so...
We're reducing that because Coors pulled out of the deal. So.
I'll have to talk to my agent about that. Let me go get my suit real quick.
Yeah. So, but before we dig in for the whole day, because I got to ask you this question: how cool was it meeting your sensei?
Oh
At
man,
Comic-Con?
I was so giddy. So
We
like,
were
he was,
giddy.
He
Like,
was.
we got the
he was like,
picture,
Danny's
and
so
we felt
giddy
your
right now, and I
excitement
was
through
like,
Facebook. Yep.
couldn't say anything. I was fangirling so much.
Were you?
Oh yeah, I was so
You were
happy.
full blown panic, like
Oh,
rock
yeah.
star mode.
Yeah.
I've been there. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, dude.
Like, hey,
I mean, I only waited in line for
I
like
love
10
you.
hours for it, but
no, that was cool. We appreciated that picture. It was. I think we all.
I was
like,
yes. laughing my ass
This
off
is
on that
cool.
edit you had on there.
That
When
was
I put the kitty on there.
coolest
Yeah, I was-
thing ever.
I was
That's
laughing
the
so-
100% capitalist pig in me. I'm like, hey, let's put a logo on this and say you can get Johnny Lawrence.
I was like, fuck, I should have gave him a shirt.
I didn't think about it.
I didn't
either.
think
I
about
don't
it.
think I put 2 and 2 together that you were actually going to meet him the next
Yeah.
weekend, or we might have been like,
Well, yeah,
hey,
because you said his
ask him if he'll
name
throw
a
this
couple
on.
times, and I was like, I don't know who the
I
hell
don't know
that
who it was
is.
either, yeah.
Say Johnny Lawrence.
Well, what's funny is my mom was like, oh, it's so cool you gave him a shirt. And I was like, fuck, should have gave him the shirt.
It's all good. I just faked
You
that
had a good
shit.
edit on that, so.
Yeah, literally did like, oh, this is going to be a perfect opportunity for a capitalist pig in me. Yeah. All right. I guess from this point, I don't really have anything to add. Thank you guys.
Heck, we also got, 35 seats bought for the game?
We did. Yeah, good
That's
call.
going to be awesome.
And matter
You
of
guys
fact,
had fun with that.
I think we were asking
not
today.
No.
Oh.
I was like $95. I hate both these teams.
Oh. We were asking on the chatter, like, where are you guys sitting or whatnot, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. But it looked like a lot of people are going. And yes, we got, I think, there's probably still a couple of tickets. You know how it is. People are like, I'll do that. But then when it gets to the end, they're like, yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for.
That's it. Then when you call Daniel and be like, hey, I got them, but they're still $95, but we'll be friends if you buy them from me. Anyways.
We'll make a payment plan.
Yeah. I'm doing that. I'm 100% on board with that idea. But to your point, yeah, it was cool to get a bunch of beer leaguers together to go watch that game, and then to hear from some of the other people like Dusty. He's like, yeah, we got a group of beer leaguers that are, I don't know where we are in conjunction with one another, but it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
I just hope that they don't play Flower and we get a chirping the whole game.
I don't. Yeah. So that I'm trying to think. There's no tunnel to the bench at the Mavericks, right? There's no tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
So he's literally going to have to come across the ice and then sit on that end of the bench where we're sitting. So.
Well, usually the goalies sit on the towards the
Oh,
middle.
you're right. Shit.
Oh well, we'll be able to chirp some fourth
Dude,
league,
he
minor league.
got one of the guys from what team was that
Wichita.
to toss you a smelling salt.
Yeah.
And like this guy.
I was
he's
trying
got-
to get tape,
he's
but
got
he was
superpowers.
like, no, you don't give him any tape.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, tape ain't cheap. They got the
That's
good
way
stuff.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw us a stick.
All right, Nate,
I wanted to go to that game, but
Yeah.
I won't be
Come
in
on.
town.
where are you going?
I'll be as long as nothing goes south of this, because apparently there's of course the resurgence of
Yes.
the Delta variant, and then we
Yes.
have the resurgence of, I should say, and then there's, I guess, a potential hurricane coming in.
I did see that.
So there's a coffee expo down in New Orleans, the 30th through like the 2nd of October, and I'm
On
going.
Bourbon Street?
I don't know where. It's probably in
Gotcha.
like a conference
It's
center,
within a
you know.
block or two.
Yeah,
Yep.
but it will be mostly in there, like watching people nerd out about ridiculous coffees. So, but in theory, I'll be at that.
Right on.
We'll see if it actually follows through. So if it
Gotcha.
doesn't, we'll be on vacation, because I think that'll be kind of the first time it slows down a little bit in
Gotcha.
mine and Christie's neck of the woods.
Yep. So heading south either way.
No, so we won't go south if we don't do that. We'll just go straight out to. I think we're gonna do the Great Sand Dunes, actually.
Really?
So yeah.
So heading west to get those
Yeah.
done.
Well, so mainly I'm buying a snowboard deck at Never Summer, and their factory's in Denver, and so I'm gonna go there and talk to some guys to make sure that I'm getting what I think will fit me well. But in any rate, I'm gonna pick that up, and then we'll drive. We're also going because one of her friends, who's an actor, well, her best friend actually, who's an actor, she's in a show out in Cripple Creek.
Okay.
And so we're going to go see the show, I think on like the 8th of October. So we'll be there roughly about a week. Yeah. Should be
Very
cool.
good.
Should be fun. Nice
Yep.
break, hopefully.
All right, so we want to hear your story. How the hell, and it's funny, mention this. A lot of guys I know who are musicians, like when they got to like that 25 or older plateau, they started playing hockey. What the hell is wrong with us? How the hell are we all connected this way? I don't know, right? There's a bunch of them.
There are a
man.
lot of musicians that
Yeah.
also play hockey. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Some of them get started earlier. Because like Johnny, Johnny Gleason.
Yep.
Like I think he played when he was younger, and then he plays some. I don't think he plays much now, but he's a musician too. He plays
Gotcha.
around a lot.
Yep.
He's got a bluegrass band. It's really good. Yeah, no, there are a lot.
I don't know what the connection is.
So
Do you find it? Like, yeah, I'm really
it's
curious.
a little bit odd, I do think, but I think
Yep.
that some of it is a lot of. It kind of depends on what you're into. There's some. I think with musicians, a lot of times it's the appeal is that you can continue to practice something and never
Yeah.
really exceed its capabilities.
And
Except
there's a
for maybe
real
like
individualism.
5 people that existed ever.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then there's some creativity
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's like a few people that can, through constant like progress and refinement, like achieve a level that no one has really known. But even then, I don't know that they've really mastered anything that like a guitar can do, or I don't even know if that's possible.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and I think to some extent, same thing like hockey. Like, it's kind of got that same.
Limitless.
We don't really know
Yeah.
what's possible because like we're finding out all the time that what we
Yeah.
thought was like, whoa, you can do that, and
Yeah.
then like you see Sidney Crosby do a one-handed backhander, and you're like, maybe I can try to do this, and you realize you can't even get the puck off the ice. But at the same time, it's like you wouldn't know when you would have thought of that. Like say, I remember
No.
because I kind of got introduced into hockey actually not far from here, as weird as that is. So I went to church with this guy who was like 3 or 4 years older than me. I was maybe like 11 or 12 and just gotten some rollerblades for what reason I'm not entirely sure. And we had those stupid hockey sticks with the lilac blades
plastic
or whatever,
thing,
because
It's all good.
Mighty Ducks came out.
Yeah. So what year are we talking, roughly?
I
Just
want to
guess.
say 93 maybe,
Oh my goodness.
because this would have been
Full blown old.
before. So I moved to Liberty in 93.
Okay.
And it was around that time that I remember playing, like...
Cody, when were you born?
91.
So when Cody, let's do it like this. When Cody was 2, I had gotten my first pair of rollerblades,
There we go.
and I think somewhere around there in this like goofy stick that was blue on the bottom, blue plastic. Didn't know much about hockey other than what I saw. I think it was the Mighty Ducks. Maybe that came out in '92.
Mhm.
I feel like.
You thought the knuckle puck was a real thing.
That
It
hadn't-
is, dude. It's
I
like
don't think that had
95% of my
developed
shots.
yet, though, because that was D2. So no, not yet. Because
Okay.
I don't remember even like thinking about that. And it's funny because that came up recently, but that's a story for another time. At any rate,
Next session.
So my friend was older than me, and he kind of got into some different sports that weren't like so mainstream, and kind of introduced me to hockey. We all got like really into it. Would play in the cul-de-sac or the neighbor's driveway. I always remember even then like being pretty good at that, but literally sucking like ass at every other sport. I mean, it didn't matter what it was. Like basketball, football, and it was so strange. Well, so I did that for in '93, my family moved out to Liberty. We were right by this rink. They had a roller hockey team. Mom and Dad said I could play. I was thrilled. I did it once or twice. Some tornado took the roof off, so that stopped.
Bastards.
Yeah, and they didn't start it back up. And then they wouldn't drive me out to the Pepsi Ice Center or whatever it was, clear out south. So I got disenfranchised with that, had plenty of other stuff going on, and then never thought about it really hardly at all. Stopped, I'd play the video games because we had the Sega, 95 or NHL 95
It
or
was the
something
best
like
damn
that.
hockey there was ever.
They were good. I mean,
Yeah.
I loved, passing it to the guy who was a star.
Yeah.
And then the star lit up completely, and then you went in, and you always did the wraparound.
Yep.
The wraparound was like
Every
how you scored
time.
goals.
Right? Yep.
I was really disappointed when it come to find out the wraparound is not actually how you score goals.
No. Yeah.
So you can get some wraparound
Pretty
goals.
easy to do.
It's a lot easier to score a lot of other ways than the damn wraparound. But at any rate, I always really wanted to play ice. I mean, I remember going. My dad had one thing we were always pushed to at least get A's or B's.
Yep.
And if we, both the brothers, me and Brian, did that because this was kind of before Joel came around. We he'd take us to a Blades game. And they do the 4-pack.
Cool.
You get a Coke or whatever and a hot dog, which was unheard of in my family. My parents did not spend money like that. They were tighter than you couldn't squeeze blood out of a turnip with those people. We didn't have cable. I was the only kid in my neighborhood that didn't have cable. I remember watching MTV. You know where I saw my first music video?
Where?
My pastor's house.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Weird shit, right?
Baby got back.
Thriller. No, it was Thriller. Dude. It was Thriller. You got to think another decade before that.
yeah.
It was Thriller. All right.
Oh, cool.
Sort of, yeah. It was
That's
weird,
what
and I
he
didn't even
does.
know at the time that was MTV or a music video, really, or Michael Jackson. I was just like, wow, this is awesome. But at any rate, kind of back to the hockey thing. Well, so years go by. I'm 34 now, working with Kyle Bricker of all people. And he's like, dude, you should come play hockey. I'm like, that sounds like the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life.
I'll
Kyle."
do it. Hold my beer.
No.
Son
So
of a bitch, I'm in.
he's like, no, you should try it. And I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like I would just get killed because I'm thinking hockey. You're everybody's gonna skate. I can't skate really. I haven't done any of this. He was like,
They fight.
yeah,
Yeah.
get some skates and a stick, and I'll loan you everything else. So he did. I went out I think once and I, kind of got the feel of it. And then the second time, I ended up getting the puck in the back of the net twice. So I was probably like hooked at that point.
That's like
Total.
off swing, right?
Total like fluke shit. You're like, oh wow, all right, I'm gonna just do this now.
Yep.
And then it kind of just replaced like staying in shape in a lot of ways, because you spend a lot of time like running.
Yep.
But I think kind of back to the music thing, I think it is a lot of people who like to do the same things over and over again, or maybe like kind of like the practicing process of
Right.
getting better
I
and
wonder,
seeing like
yeah.
development.
That's good insight.
So,
Yeah.
but
Because if you're a musician, you fucking grind on your craft.
yeah,
Like there are hours that nobody ever sees of you just like working on this thing,
Mhm.
right? And then you get those few minutes of glory, right?
or you wonder if you ever will. I remember
Right.
playing guitar for a
Good
long
call.
time, thinking, what the hell am I doing this for? But
I knew exactly why I was doing it. Yeah.
Ladies.
well,
That's my boy. Yeah. There was no greater motivation, none whatsoever. Yep.
yeah, I don't know if it was ladies,
No.
but and
You
kind of like
guitarist, you're.
kind of like you.
I'm a drummer. I
would
just
have
hang
played.
out with
I
musicians.
would have played for myself, whether like
Yeah.
I was playing or not. So I knew why I was doing it. It just seems like sometimes you're like, huh, I wonder if this is gonna ever be of value to anyone other than myself and in these moments.
Right.
And does it matter? No, because you'd still do it. But it's just something that I remember pondering, and
Yeah.
it's weird to have kind of, I guess, then, not really anybody, but I gig frequently, and it's interesting to see people, especially having had a lot of practice and performing.
Yep.
You like refine that. It's just like anything else, and I can see like people connecting with the music, because I'm kind of at the point now where I'm like, this feels like a job.
Right.
Like you're loading your stuff in, you're playing the songs.
It's kind of how I feel about
fun.
hockey a little bit at my age. I'm sorry to admit.
When was the last time you played hockey?
Shut up. Oh.
Well, the ice is soft, right?
Yeah.
My hip hurts, my arm's broken. Want to see my scar?
Well, you also wouldn't want to pit out that shirt, because it's a fine shirt. It gets sweaty, you got to put it back on.
Yeah,
Gross.
I wondered if
Ad
somebody else
stench
wouldn't
for
join
months.
me in the whole beer drinking shirt thing, but here I sit.
That's a game day thing.
That's game
Yeah, I
day,
know,
right?
yeah.
Started by Danny Thomas, by the way.
I almost did that, and then I was like, that's kind of what I thought, so I was like, I think that's more of a game day thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm rolling. I've been drunk
Should've
since
checked.
yesterday afternoon, so
Attaboy.
It was a fine game, that was a grinder.
it was a good one, yeah. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the hockey thing, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, we got there, right? But what keeps you going?
Oh,
Like,
with that?
dude, you're one of the most committed hockey guys.
Oh, yeah.
Forever. People will be like, oh, I saw Nate.
I guess I should have touched about that.
Yep.
I just sort of touched on that, like it's not. So I legitimately love to skate, first and foremost. So even in between, like when I wasn't doing hockey, so I got a skateboard at like 14, and I skateboarded like I play hockey now from probably about 14 to like maybe 34, right about the time. So I had some overlap where like I discovered hockey and I would do.
When
like,
did you start playing guitar?
So I started guitar, man, at like 12 or 13.
Okay.
My parents were, and I don't want to like put off the wrong vibes at all, because I grew up in like the best. It was like the most cookie cutter house where like your parents were together all the time. You never heard them fight, like crazy shit. Your family had the same family forever. Nobody in my family died until 2017, and if I was born in '82, so if you figure that's like unreal,
Yeah.
right? I mean, so no trauma, but like one of the things was like, so I had to like make money for this guitar.
Yeah.
So I needed like $300
Sounds
bucks.
like they were building character.
Yeah, sort of, maybe, I guess. But, so I
Yeah.
needed like $300 bucks, and I had to do all these odds and end jobs. This is like maybe 94, and like, so 20, but I'd do like a whole yard of yard work. It'd be like, $20, son. You're like, thanks, that took 8 hours. What a
Yeah.
great day this is. No, we were like, yeah, it's crazy. Like, think back, right? So I did that for like maybe 3, 4, 5 months, and I remember going to this music store on Universal over by Duke University in West Des Moines. Well, it would have more like been closer to downtown. Because my grandparents lived up there, and I bought this kit. It was like Ibanez guitar with a little Ibanez amp. It was awesome.
And this was 82-ish?
No, this would have been like 94.
Oh, okay.
I'd have been like 12.
All right.
I think it was like right at 94, that summer. Because it was June or July.
Was Limp Bizkit out yet? Yes or no?
Not really. Like they were evolving,
Timeline.
but I want to say like maybe I can't remember enough of when. So 12th, 6th grade. I think it would have been like 7th.
So what was the
grade.
first song you wanted to pursue on this new rig?
Oh, I had bought the Nevermind guitar book.
There we go.
So I had learned
Those bastards.
Smells Like Teen
They fucking
Spirit,
killed my career.
All Those You Are, all those guitar songs in
Yeah.
that book. Of course, my dad was like a guitar player, so I
Okay.
he
Yep.
played. He didn't teach me much or really anything. So my dad and I would butt heads a lot because I'm the oldest of three, and then we just had. He was like the stern, I was this first kid. I can imagine it's got to be like hard.
Yep.
So, anyways, he did a great job. But I remember him playing, so that was probably some exposure there. And then I was always kind of drawn to music. I got a saxophone at like, 6th grade is also. So the same
Okay.
year I think I probably got
At
the
least you
saxophone.
got the sax.
And
That's
then
still
that
rock and
summer,
roll.
yeah. And it was fun.
The only
dude.
song worth playing on sax is Careless Whisper, so.
That's
Well,
pretty
so
good.
I was really into jazz through like high school because of that, and then I was gonna go to school in North Texas because they had a pretty strong jazz program. But my parents wanted me to go to a Christian school because they thought that I didn't follow rules well, which is probably true. And
reasonably.
yeah, and honestly, I was able to graduate by doing that. I think if I'd have gone to like a state school, I don't know if I'd have gone to North Texas and partied out, but I might have partied out some other places. Anyway, they wanted me closer to home than that, and in like more of a private school setting.
Gotcha. Yep.
Where people had like at least a few ethics in their minds.
Yep.
I remember as a young kid, my mom would be like, "California, nothing good's happening in California."
No, it isn't.
She'd be mortified.
I agree with your
Oh,
mother.
it's so beautiful. though.
I liked it, man. Well, and this was also like way back a long time ago. I can kind of see
Yep.
what you're saying, especially in light of recent things. But at any rate.
All right, so we covered kind of how you got into hockey. Right?
Yeah.
And you and I
Well,
waxed poetic about why the hell musicians and hockey
Right, are
sort of fit together.
combining
And I think you
thing.
helped actually, like understanding that grind of learning something, right?
Yeah,
Is the same with
I think that's
guitar,
a lot of
bass,
what it is.
drums, keyboard, whatever, right? Or
Yep.
or even hockey players.
There's
right?
rhythm. It's a
Pretty
team
cool.
thing too.
Yeah.
I think like music as a group's fun. Hockey's fun by yourself. Music
Yeah.
by yourself's fun
Good
too.
point.
But it's more fun like with
Yep.
like. But
Yeah, really good point.
yeah, no, I think I love to skate. It was easy to get really addicted into playing, and I mean, there's a few times because I probably skate usually 5 times a week. I would say or so, maybe.
At least.
And
Jeez.
then, well, sometimes I do an extra or two.
Right? Yeah.
But and so there are times where I'll be like, I don't really want to go, but I don't know. Even when I do, I mean, it's always so much fun. It's
Yeah.
just it's a lot of fun. So and who knows, maybe in 5 more years I'll decide I want to do something else. But for the most part, it was kind of one of those things where I know if I'd have got started, if I could have played ice hockey actually as a kid,
Yep.
I think I would have like jumped right in. But it was really hard to like not see. There's no translation really. I mean,
Agreed.
I'm not knocking on street hockey players. I think it's awesome. I know some who like come to the ice and are incredible.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same. It's like the ball, or even if you try to use a street puck, it's way slower. You can't really stop on
Yep.
blades like you
Yep.
can on like you can.
But
on
I think it's a
skates.
cool progression. A lot of conversation recently. I had no idea there was this ball hockey world. People running around in tennis shoes playing ball hockey.
Sure.
And I was like, I had no. I mean, I just didn't know it existed. I remembered playing as a kid in school and loving it, right? But similar, but we used like a little lightweight puck. But as I saw, like this whole ball hockey thing is the best absolute entry into
Oh yeah.
roller. And then I've always known roller. I mean, heck, I started the kids out on roller. I'm like,
Yeah.
if you can get roller, then we'll move you over to the ice. Yeah, so watching that, I'm delighted to hear that this thing exists.
Mhm.
I don't know when it came up. I have no idea when ball hockey became a thing, right?
It's
Because
been
the only
around
time
a
I ever
long
played
time
anything
here,
close
I
was
know.
junior high school, and this would have been 1980, when I was in junior high school.
God, you're so.
Woo!
I was negative too.
You just little sperm cells swimming around.
Tell us about EE.
Okay.
What
so,
the hell, dude? So hold on. My endorsement first. You had coffee, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy some. I love coffee. I'm a winter coffee guy, and I was so I'm like, oh, hey, Nate's got coffee. I'm gonna buy coffee. I bought it. I'm like, oh my god, this is delicious. It's so much better than store-bought coffee, and it had a decent amount of caffeine, so I could get what I wanted out of the deal. But at the end of the day, man, I was like, I'm on board. Ultimately, so here I am, the summer guy who doesn't drink coffee in the summer, so I'm on hiatus. What?
Gotta drink it all year round.
That's what I keep being told, right?
a lot of I think that's actually kind of more normal.
But you do
Or
like
some people
cold
change up
coffees
their-
and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, cold extraction has become a lot more popular, especially in the last decade.
But let's hear about how the hell you got into the coffee business.
Well, so I told you that lovely mini story about how my family had no bad shit really happen to them. Well, from like 17 to 19, a third of them died off. So one of that
Did
third
they
was
get COVID?
no, thankfully that wasn't a thing. No, my dad died of colon cancer in 2018. And so he had always roasted coffee. Well, I had always kind of figured that I would open a cafe, but I'm thinking 65 after I retire.
Gotcha.
And I'm thinking this because I liked coffee. I didn't necessarily love his coffee, but he just kind of his roast preferences were a little bit different than mine, and then also too trying to find that perfect point of development to where the coffee really sings, if you will, both from a roasting perspective, a extraction perspective. It's actually quite tricky.
To your point, I hate Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, that's because
If you put that garbage
terrible.
near me and I drink it, I go, but Starbucks, I hate it. I'm not drinking that.
Well,
It's
they
garbage.
over roast most of their coffee in general, but they do that for a couple reasons. Part of that is as it ages out, it's not going to change and taste as much.
Okay.
A lot of why you want to buy, the big difference as to why, say, that coffee you drank tastes better than the coffee on the shelves is because the coffee on the shelves at the store's probably been there at least a month.
Yeah.
Really, man, I don't, and this is going to sound snobby as hell, but
Go ahead.
by the time it's
I'm
2
used to
weeks old, I don't drink coffee that's been roasted more than 2 weeks ago, really, because by then, not all coffees, a lot of them basically do kind of like a cliff dive in terms of what the flavor profile offers. Now, I have an opportunity that most people don't have, in that I live in town, so I'm buy a bunch of if I want to go buy a bag of coffee, I can. I do shop online. There's a couple different coffee roasters. I'll order coffee into town. But otherwise too, I roast not as often as I'd like, but usually at least once to twice a month. And so I'll grab coffee for myself when I do that,
Right on.
and play around with it
Fresh
too.
as
Well,
hell.
I want to know what it tastes like too, because I want to know approximately what people are tasting when they're drinking the coffee.
Right on. Yep.
But so my dad did that. When he died, he was selling coffee to his friends. He'd sell probably maybe I don't know. He'd buy. So when you buy a bag, it's about.
Sort of sound like weed.
It's
Buy
not.
a bag.
It really. So it kind of is. No, it's funny when you say that, because I'll call and talk to when I'm buying greens or whatever,
Yeah.
because you even call them greens.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
I'm getting some greens. Got to load them up in the car. I prefer to throw
And
them
the
in the trunk.
FBI's listening in on your
Yeah,
cell phone
yeah, that's what
conversation.
I've-
Wait a minute, what's going on
That's
here?
what I've envisioned a couple times. I'm calling up Cafe Imports to talk to our sales guy,
That's funny.
make a buy. So
Uh-oh.
but no, it's funny that you say that, because that's exactly kind of how it goes. So you buy a giant bag.
Yeah.
A bag is usually 69 kilos.
Nice.
Can be less than that.
Yeah.
Depends on where you buy it from. The region actually dictates the size of the bag. So the 69 kilos are 155 pounds approximately. Those usually come from Central and South America.
Mhm.
You get, it's been a little while. I want to say it's a 60 kilo bag that comes from Africa, and
They drop
those
this in your
bags.
backyard via parachute.
I wish, man. No, you pay out the so if you do what we do, which is have it basically dropped off at our house,
Yeah.
you pay a shitload of money
I'll
for
bet,
that. Actually,
yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
that'll be $90. They're like,
Yeah.
you're like $90. Yeah, well, we got to drive it out to the burbs, or
Yeah, they had to
wherever
drive
your
it
house
from the
is.
hub, right?
Yeah,
to
because
your
usually
place.
if you're in
Yeah.
a residential, or not a residential,
Yeah.
commercial area,
Yeah.
they're probably making at least another delivery, I think, and also too, a lot of times
Yeah.
they have docks, so they don't need the same equipment.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so my dad would kind of do that, but he had a bunch of that coffee in the basement. We just kind of figured we'd try to make it work. Well, so now we're kind of at the point where within another year or two, Probably actually a lot more, like 6 months to a year, because
Yes, please.
some of that depends on a few other phases of business that we have going on. But we'll get the shop open, and we'll start doing
Okay.
more of a cafe
Yep.
environment where you'll be able to go get a latte or an
Okay.
espresso
Yep.
or
Thanks
things
a
like
latte.
that. Exactly. We won't name it quite anything that cheesy.
Hopefully not.
I do hope to kind of incorporate some of the hockey world into some aspect of that, but probably not in a very dominant capacity. It'll
Do you have, like, a
subtle at
Location?
best.
Like you're
No,
thinking, I'd like to
not
be
really.
X? Okay.
It's Sex Dungeon.
I mean, yeah, I want to be close enough to my goal my entire life is to basically not leave which has worked out great with COVID. That's about one of the only positives I gotta say. Like, I don't really leave the city unless it's like to play hockey. Otherwise,
Gotcha.
I'm like, yeah, that's in like the suburbs. Nope. Or even like kind of the south, like Waldo. I'm like, that's in Waldo. That's kind of like 20 minutes from Midtown. I don't think so. So, because everything else is about 10 minutes away.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, no, it'll be somewhere within about 10 to 15 minutes, I think, like
Yeah.
of kind of somewhere down there. There's a lot of development happening, actually, even more than. So they're putting the streetcar down through Maine.
Yep.
They've got, I know of at least 3 complexes already approved to go in, and Mac is trying to get approval. You know where Ponchos is, right
Yes.
next to that U.S.
Yep.
Bank.
Yep.
Basically, they'd wipe that out and do like 1,500, I think it is, or some crazy number of units in there. Basically, it sounds like in the next 5 to 10 years, that Main Street drag, while it will have the fancy little car,
Yep.
it'll also have a billion people that'll come along with it. So it should be interesting. It'll, like, I think it's great. I think it's good for KC growth. It'll be like
Yeah.
probably cumbersome as some, like, you right now you get a lot of the benefits of having a city environment with like not the city really at all,
Right.
because there's not a billion
Right.
people down there. I mean, it's not really crazy. It's like medium. Like you can usually go someplace and just go.
And I know you've mentioned before that you've got a couple of properties. Are you?
Oh no. Well, so I live with Christy.
Yep.
She owns the house we live in. We Airbnb 4 of the rooms, and then I own 2 duplex units, but in the same
Okay.
roof up
Right
in
on.
Liberty. One of which has been rented the entire time I've owned it. The other one I've rented and then lived in. I technically live there right now, but
Gotcha.
I'm like 3/4 almost all the way done.
You've
with
almost
the
convinced her
reno-
to let you move in.
Yeah, well that for sure. It's been a tough sell. I mean,
Yeah,
it's been
I
a
agree.
tough sell.
I
I've
get
got
it,
a lot of
dude.
shit.
Yeah.
I have long hair. I smell.
Yeah.
I'm a guy. I
Lots
mean,
of
there's
shit.
a lot of it's a lot of things. So, but yeah, no, she's awesome. So she puts up with all that. So I've almost have that's settled down, and then I'm about done with the renovation. So I basically gutted the entire side of the duplex that I'm on, and have tore out all the floors, replaced all the floors. I'm almost done with the kitchen.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then
I just been picking up little bits and pieces of that on Facebook, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you're obviously up to something more here.
So I've gutted 2 bathrooms. One's completely done. I tiled one. I'm not going to tile the second. I'm just going to, I think, do some sort of a laminate thing. And then I've started to finish this final bathroom. But so I put in a couple toilets. Put in it's a lot of weird. So the lady that's living next door calls me, or actually I'm going to a gig. This was last Saturday. She's like, Nate, the floors are wet. I'm like, oh my god. She's like, she's like, yep, there's water coming in. I'm like, is it falling from the ceiling? Like, what's going on here? I'm starting to freak out. She's like, no, it's not coming from the ceiling. So I get some odd videos. She's a really nice gal, by the way. So, but anyways, short story long, I guess. Water's coming in from the front corner because I need to kind of move some dirt around and fix some things as far as the runoff goes.
Okay.
And so, well, I don't really understand what it all is entailing with this, so I'm trying to figure this out when I'm going to a gig. I'm like, look, I can't worry about this right now. I'll talk to you tomorrow or the next day. So I go over there, check it
Get a
out.
vacuum.
I finally figured this out, so I give her a couple fans. Hasn't rained in a few days. She's like, yeah, you're right, it was the rain. So, now I basically need to rerun the water, but it's weird things like that come up where you just sort of have to be ready to kind of go with the flow and flow
Absolutely.
changes. But so yeah, I guess I'm up to that. That is kind of my long term. Here's my thought.
How the hell did you ever get into rental properties?
Oh well, so when I was gonna buy something, it occurred to me that you're buying the biggest thing you've ever bought in your life, right? So I'm like, well, I don't just want to buy it if it's not gonna for sure in 5 or 10
Right.
years
I get the whole
make me money.
buy a duplex or
Yeah.
a quadruplex
So
and live in one and rent
that's
the
why
other
I-
3.
that's why I did
love
that.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
where I'm going for my retirement.
and then after and so next
We all
I don't
have
know.
a place to live.
Moving
Be awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Team houses. I
That'd
like
be
where this
awesome.
is headed.
Yep.
Team
We're on to
houses.
something here.
Yeah, beer league, team houses.
Put your name right on the time and I'm good.
But it's fun. I mean, I guess like it's been a good investment for me so far.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like where I'm putting my retirement. I think hopefully.
Right on.
Should help. If the coffee shop
So
doesn't make money.
here's the question that I hear the most about Nate is like, what the hell does he do for a living?
Oh, so I work
A
at
few things, right? You do a few things for a living.
Yeah, I do that, and then I do work at a pharmacy, which does take up most of my weekdays, pretty much all day long. And so since I work at home, I like work early and then work late.
Gotcha. Yep.
And then I work on the duplex usually 2 to 3 nights a week if I can. But it'll be like 2 or 3 hours at a time. It won't be like a ton of hours.
Gotcha.
So really that's kind of the big hang up in knocking a lot of it out. Because like if I could just go over there and spend like 3 days, I could probably have it done
Right.
by now.
Right.
But
And
yeah.
then how the hell do you fit gigs and hockey into all this?
Well, so the hockey's mostly at night.
Are you like one of
because-
those Stephen Covey guys who's got like this perfect schedule?
Barely. Well,
you're managing a lot of shit here, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
a lot
so
of balls in the air.
as you've
Yeah.
kind of noticed, the gigs and the hockey do kind of conflict, especially in the summer. And then sometimes I get lucky where like I'll just happen to have. So I usually play either Friday or Saturday, but not both. And a lot of times there'll be a game Friday or Saturday,
Yeah.
but not both. So it's literally a coin toss.
Yeah.
We've actually had, when our schedule first came out, I was like, oh dude, this is crap because I'm like not going to be at anything. And then thankfully some stuff has changed around a little bit. So I've maybe made, as I was kind of counting back through the games, I was like, well, I still have missed a lot of games, good lord. But I've made more than I thought I was going to, which has been kind of nice.
It's been nice for
So,
us.
The hard,
Right? We're glad to have him.
I
Holy
think
cow.
what frustrates me is there's times where like I might maybe want to go play and skate because it's fun,
Mhm.
but I need to go do a show. So if somebody books something, like I play with a group on I think Tuesdays, and I got booked for a thing, or no, it had moved to Wednesdays, and I got booked to play at Mission Taco, and we like prepays like a group. We all like put money into this pot, and then
Yep.
everybody checks in, and we all skate together on Tuesday, which had moved to Wednesday just for some scheduling things. It was a temporary deal, but I couldn't really turn down the gig in my mind to go do something else that I paid for because
Yep.
it's an extracurricular. It's like a fun thing. So
Yep.
I do really try to make sure I'm containing that to a not making it. It's a priority to an extent, but not
Yep.
beyond that. But
Yep.
Christy's really cool. She's busy too. I help her quite a bit, like kind of with the Airbnb stuff. We tag
Okay.
team that a lot. But we sort of
Was
just
that
do a lot
her
of that
idea?
together. She's always done that.
Gotcha.
I mean, it'll be awesome because we'll have she bought that house in Midtown in 2018, and we'll have it paid off in 2023 in June. So that's literally like coming up, like freaking
Yeah,
not
good for
next
you,
year,
man.
but the year after.
Yep.
And then we'll make some new moves probably. Well, we'll probably make some new moves before then. But we've got stuff like up here,
Yeah.
but we just don't really have a way to get it all down. So I mean, like one of the things we go to a lot of tiki bars. We'll have a tiki bar. Like we've done a couple parties where we batch up these beverages. You make
Yep.
like all the syrups and the juices.
Yeah, you
and
threatened to
everything.
bring us some beverages.
I was
tonight.
gonna, man, but I like
Sorry,
so I was
bastard.
missing. I know. I was
Remember when we
really.
used to be friends?
I was bummed. I know.
Gone forever.
Yeah.
So well, I'm thinking
Off
maybe
the
end of
team.
Yeah.
maybe end of season.
All right.
Well, so
We're
what I
holding you
did.
to it. Got that? Somebody make a note.
I
It's-
didn't write
it's
it
on
down.
Dave is bringing the special
down.
drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was missing
bringing the
Demerara
Kool-Aid.
syrup
Yeah.
and a
Oh,
grenadine
yeah.
syrup was what it was, and so I wasn't able to put it together.
Uh-huh.
So I would normally make those, which they're not really hard to make. None of this is like rocket science. You just have to have the
Just gotta
information to
taste
put
good.
it together.
Yeah, get you
Well, it's
loaded.
just like anything. Like you can do anything like with some refinement if you just look up some information on it and kind of like practice it.
Yeah.
Got time for that.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, to that point, what we sell here is merchandise. That's all we've got, right? We don't want sponsors. We don't have sponsors.
Oh, he's lying. I will sell out in a heartbeat.
That's
Yes.
true. Me too.
So let's keep that open to interpretation. But we don't have sponsors, so we're not stuck in anything. But what we do is what you mentioned. That's selling a little bit of merch. Someone last night handed me cash and said, "Give somebody a sweatshirt on me." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? That's really cool, right?" So this anonymous donor said, "Give somebody a sweatshirt on me." So right now, anybody who's in the chat
F in the chat, boys.
Yeah, F in the chat. Would this be inappropriate to use
No.
F in the chat? It would be, wouldn't it?
Still funny though.
Put an F in the chat. We're doing it. Put an F in the chat, and then we're going to go through those people. Anybody who's online now hearing this, we want an F in the chat, and from those people with the F in the chat, provided there are a few, could be bad, we're going to pick somebody, and they're going to get a free hoodie that was paid for by an anonymous stoner. So, hey, we appreciate
That's
that.
awesome.
That is it's one of the cool moves, kind of in the right direction for us. So that's our deal. Where are we at for time?
Time for you to get a watch.
Oh, and I got one right here. It says it's 5.
That's a
We
calculator.
have been live for 40 minutes.
We've been live for 40, so we try to go about 45 or more, right? What'd I miss? Come on, spit it out.
Scotty Meiser.
Scotty Meisner.
He said,
My man.
fuck?
He said what?
Fuck?
F-U-C-K?
There's an
Potty
F.
mouth. Fucking potty mouth. Ah. Let's get an F in the chat, boys and girls. How in the world do they get your coffee?
Oh, so I can put a link in there, but I left my phone in the car because I'm awesome like that. So,
But it's
I'll have
EE
to-
Coffee?
yeah, it's
On Facebook?
It's E-Roasts Coffee.
Okay. Yep. Easy to find.
eroastcoffee.com.
Facebook.
Yeah. But yeah, if you just look it up, e-coffee, it should and that's 2 E's. We named it that. That's my dad's name was Ellis,
Okay.
so
Yep.
just kind of went with E.
Right on.
Actually, my brother Joel and I do. Joel does a lot of the roasting because he lives where the roaster is. But
Okay.
we were on a coffee trip in Minneapolis in 2019, and I don't know. We were hanging out, and it just sort of came up as an idea somehow, E, using the first letter of my dad's name, and then kind of utilizing both letters, almost like an element, so
Yeah,
to speak.
I like it.
And so it's just we kind of have gone with it, and it's worked out so far. We'll continue to kind of use that as branding, and then hopefully build into, long term having a cafe, maybe grow from there.
Be
So
cool.
we'll see.
Hockey, coffee, cafe, with shots in the back.
Yeah, probably not quite
Shots
like
of
that.
wheatgrass.
Probably not quite like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Need a beer
Maybe
license.
there will be a
medicinal marijuana.
watch some.
Who knows?
No,
Anything's possible.
I don't. I would like to foresee that in 10 years, maybe, but I don't really think that. I don't know. At this rate, I think that they're just going to dangle the carrot on that forever.
I'm
It
afraid
seems
of
like
that.
that's been the federal game
Yeah.
for basically.
Yep.
All
So
time,
the boys
so.
from Bar Down were here a week ago,
2
I
weeks
think
ago.
I
2
saw
weeks
because
ago.
Dan. I watched Dan.
Yeah.
One, right?
and
Yeah.
he said we're gonna start seeing EE Coffee at Bar Down.
Yeah, him and I
Cool.
have chatted with that,
Yeah.
chatted about that for sure, and he's been doing
That
a great
bastard stole the
job.
free bag from me. Remember that
He did?
Facebook contest?
And,
Yeah, he got it.
that's right. Yeah, he did. He did win that. I do remember sending that to him.
Yeah.
I was actually pretty glad
Fight
that
me,
he did that.
Daniel Ward.
He's
I'll
yeah.
fight you.
It's cool when you see somebody you know. It's cool to send it to somebody you don't know too, but it's always kind
Yeah.
of cool when you're like,
Yeah.
oh, cool. I know who I'm sending this bag out to. But he's doing
The
a lot
cool
of good
thing
stuff.
is I know
think.
he's a fan, so he's not
Yeah.
bullshitting anybody.
Right, exactly.
He's a legit fan.
Yeah.
I'm a legit fan.
He's
yeah,
awesome,
we've had
man.
it, yeah.
I've been excited to see him really run with the store
Yep.
out in
Yep.
Sean. Is that in Shawnee Mission? Essentially, is
I
what I'm
think they're
gathering
calling
from
it a
there.
lake
No,
or
it's Overland Park.
Actually,
Old Overland Park.
So,
Yep.
what's sad for me is for the most part that's out in Kansas. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
stick to probably going to the one that's right by the Lincoln Independence just because it's so close.
As we all do. Yep.
It's too
Matter of fact, we were
con-
talking
too
about skate
convenient.
sharpening last night, and we're like, "Oh, you should go to Aussie." And then, and Tom, the goalie, our goalie, works at Bar
Was
Down
like,
right
hey,
down the
what
street.
about Bar Down?
Like,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you,
true.
Jesus, we have options,
Yeah.
right? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's nice.
What'd you have, Code?
Um,
Just spit it out.
Scotty would like to know if they're the only team that refers to him as David Spade.
Oh wow.
He's known as Graybush on the Misfits.
Oh Lord.
He's just good old Nate for us at the Comrades.
So I've gotten
The
the
great
David
name.
Spade thing a lot, actually, unfortunately, which is it's kind of funny because he's a funny guy, but he's also short. So I'm kind of like, well,
Right?
not that I have anything against short people. I like short, tall, medium.
And Dusty wants a close-up of the stash.
Oh, really?
No.
All right. We'll provide that in the
There's like-
comments below. There will be a close up. Yeah. We'll take it.
Great.
Yeah. All right, that moves us to closing arguments, which is what we call it, which is really just kind of a just silly way to close out the podcast, but we're gonna go with you first. What do you got? Come
I
on.
have to pee, so that's all I got.
So
right
you're
now.
like,
Thanks
I'm
for
done.
coming out, Nate. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Can we close this early because I got to pee? Yeah. Nothing else?
No, that's all I got for
Cool.
today.
Wow.
One thing I remember, so I started hockey last August,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you remember, there was a JSD did a clinic for a weekend, and you were there.
Did I run you over? Is that
I'm
no?
sure you
Okay.
did, but
Well, no,
Probably
I moment,
deserved it.
I
He probably
moment
told you to get out of the
knocked
way.
you down, and you were
but
like,
because that was
asshole.
the first time I had
Fucking
ever been
hate
on
that guy.
skates,
Yeah.
and then I went to that, and then I went to a stick and puck, and you were there, and you were the only person that I recognized. So, and you were helping me do drills and everything. I was like,
okay.
man, this is
Boy.
awesome.
That's a lot better of a story than I
So
thought.
yeah, no, yeah.
No bruises, no
I've
bumps.
learned a lot from
You helped me
It's all
avoid the
good.
teenagers
Yeah.
that just kicked my ass out there at stick and puck. And
Oh,
so
that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
you
regardless.
set up
Right.
cones for me to
Hard
fuck
to
around on,
drill.
and it was great.
It's
Oh,
good-
also
it's
we
fun
got
to
a
do drills.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Oh,
Thank
yes.
you.
Oh,
Well
sweet.
done.
team
Oh,
shirt.
what a gentleman.
So yeah, we I told you
Now
this.
I match Danny.
Oh, yeah.
Like all you get for payment here out of us is a T-shirt, but it's a cool T-shirt. So please wear it. Yep, as you might.
I mean, I'm on the team. So.
I was gonna say, yeah, you got a jersey and you got some other things going for you that maybe some other people don't, but you got yourself a fresh new T-shirt out of the
Plus,
program.
I'm Danny's twin right now.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Besties.
Working on my beard.
Yeah, I have no closing arguments other than to say thank you. Yeah, we appreciate
Yeah,
you taking
we
the
did,
time.
man. It's a
It was
lot of
cool.
fun, actually. Yeah.
It's been a lot of. I mean, it takes so much damn work to get people in here. We've got just a bunch of people on. Dusty.
He's doing a lot of.
Yeah. Dusty and Sean. We've still got to get them on the program. JSD and I were texting this morning. I'm like, damn it, dude, come on, we got to get a date. And he's like, we will.
Hunter, you piece of shit.
Hunter, yeah, another musician. He's a bass player. So we're gonna have you come back.
Oh yeah, and then we can all
When
jam.
Hunter comes, we can have a full blown
Have
jam.
a
That'd be
full-blown
cool.
jam. That'd
And
be
Doc,
easy enough.
Leort, you know, I mean, him and I have been talking for forever to get him in here. So, yeah, we got a lot of people, local hockey. That's what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah,
right? It's like,
I think it's awesome.
yeah, talk to people who are just, kind of in the same world that we are. So, anyways, with that, closing arguments out. We are going to close it in 1, 2, 3, and here we go. 1, 2, peace.